Hi, this is Karina from Ragebreed, and you're listening to Gravity Chamber. Welcome to my chamber, Gravity Chamber, on Ragebreed Radio. Hi everyone, it's Karina from Ragebreed, and you are listening to Gravity Chamber. And we're going to be doing a Lake of Dreams special, so we're going to be updating you with obviously what we're doing in the band, and also in terms of the written script that Fuller is currently writing. And we've got, some great news happening, and, some bits and bobs that we wanted to share with you, and what our progress has been as a band. Throughout the years to currently, and what our plans are for 2022. So we're going to start off with a track called Queen Apart, and that's by Lake of Dreams. Enjoy.
Questions why let hope die, so I will heal again. me whole again. Feel every breath in me. I will surrender to you. Just please don't betray me, for I'll feel the emptiness rising inside of me. Come closer to my passion. Let it be for eternity. Breathe into me. I will always be here. In a trance, you enhance what I feel again. Questions why let hate die so we can heal again.
I remember writing this a very long time ago. I was actually in Birstall. I used to live in Birstall, and that's when I was married and I was in Mind Lapse, and I actually wrote this track a very, very long time ago. And in fact, most of the tracks on Lake of Dreams has been written while I was in Mind Lapse, actually. But I felt like it was too mellow to put in Mind Lapse, if that makes sense. So that's the reason why I decided to do my own project. And initially it was just going to be a solo project, but I decided that it would be kind of cool to bring some more people on board to just make it a little bit more, well, I guess to have a little bit more input and stuff. And what happened was, initially when I did Lake of Dreams, I actually decided to record, I think it was in 2016, the EP, self-titled EP, and it was a collection of music that I had written, and I really wanted to get it out there, because I felt like I'd written a lot of music, and I kind of wanted to do my solo thing at the time. But then what happened was I met a guy called Richard Chappell, who basically got on really well with, and we decided, he basically joined me in this project initially, and we basically performed at Rage Fest in 2019, which was at the Sal in Nottingham. I also, before he actually joined me, I performed Athena as well, which is in Leicester, which is a huge venue in Leicester. And I basically did the day after, I believe it was, and performed live at the Athena. It was basically a music company event that I performed on, and really enjoyed that. That was a solo project. So basically, since then, myself and Richard parted ways, and I basically brought in another guitarist from the USA called Jimmy Mitchell, who's actually in my naps as well. But because we just had a really good rapport with each other, and he's an exceptionally talented musician, and really, really good. And he has that new classical edge as well, which I wanted to bring into Lake of Dreams. So you are going to find with the new album that we're going to be writing, it's going to be having some instrumental pieces. There's going to be a lot of just voice stuff as well. There's going to be combined. You're going to get a lot of different dynamics with Lake of Dreams. You're going to have, it's all going to be very ambient based because it's going to be the soundtrack for the Lake of Dreams film. So just a little bit about the Lake of Dreams film. So initially we were going to make a series out of it because there is a lot of content in the actual the series and stuff. But I spoke to Em today and we decided that actually we're not going to make it a series, we're going to make it a film, and then we'll have some more content to have a sequel for the next one. So we're going to be actually making one film, and we were going to do 3 films, which we possibly may do, but it just depends on how the first one works. There is going to be a lot of content in it, so it might be quite a long film to watch, but it definitely will be worth it. So we're looking in the sort of, type of fantasy where you're looking at Willow Legend, Conan the Barbarian, when you've got stuff like, it's going to be very, very fantasy based. So you guys have to understand that, a lot of my influences was from things like The Hobbit, J.R. Tolkien's one of my favourite influences, but we are going to try not to make it too much Lord of the Ringsy. We're going to have our own stamp on it. I discussed this with we need to make our own genuine stamp on it. So there will be a lot of magical stuff in there, and I have been watching a lot of fantasy based films and series just so I can sort of create ideas in my own head of what I want to bring to our film, and how we can sort of change it slightly so we can come up with something still authentic, but it's basically finding inspiration from other films and other series. Personally myself, I've really enjoyed series like Merlin, for example, and basically things like that. A lot of different types of fantasy films like The Witcher, Once Upon a Time, for example, even Sabrina, but a lot of my real interests are in the old school 80s fantasy films, so Legend, Labyrinth, The Never-Ending Story, that kind of stuff. It's the stuff that built my soul and passion for fantasy films, fantasy art, spiritual art, all that kind of stuff. It's beautiful because it takes you out of your current boring life. It's a bit like everything is so mundane in life, I feel, and it's just it's nice to be able to go into a sort of imagination phase where you can conjure up anything. That's the beauty of creativity. People that have these kind of imaginations where they can explore the unknown or invent and create. It is so beautiful. And it's like when you're reading pages of Lord of the Rings in the books and in The Hobbit, and certainly a lot of the books that I've read as well, even Game of Thrones I thought was really good in the books as well as, obviously as a series. But, I sort of want to bring, a great fantasy film. It's going to be based around a romance between a druidess and sort of a high-ranking soldier to the king. A little bit like in Gladiator, where Maximus was seen as his son. So this guy's going to be a little bit like that, except the difference between this guy and Maximus is he's a little bit unsure of who he is at that point. You know, he's still trying to find himself. He hasn't got that baseline, this is who I am, yet. So he doesn't trust his own decisions, you know, sometimes, and he can be a bit reckless. He gets led by people quite easily. The girl, she knows what she wants. She's quite stable in herself. But she, you know, him and her are not supposed to be together. They're from completely different worlds. His actual role is to kill witches, and she's a druidess, and she, you know, is coming from a long line of witches and stuff. So he doesn't know that when he first meets her, because he first sees her in the lake, and they talk and they have this affair, and you know, it builds up and builds up, and then he finds out finally, when she puts a chain around her neck, that she is actually someone who is magical, and he would have to normally strike anyone down. You know, that's what he does in his job. So it's very messy. So those two people are not supposed to fall in love, but they do, and oh my god, what a battle it is. So, you know, it's a really beautiful romance though, because when they're together everything's perfect, but it goes to show how external influences can try and pull a relationship apart when, you know, people have their own sort of set judgments on the other, you know. And it's talking about real life experiences that we have with prejudices, you know, and how communities, you know, segregate and divide, and where we have racism, or where we, you know, it's all that kind of stuff built in it. So it does actually add what we go through today, but it's kind of done in a sort of a more I suppose in the ancient way, I suppose, as well. So and I'll just let you know that the place that we're basing it on, it is actually a fantasy place. It's not real, but we just wanted to bring mythology, you know, a little bit of that into it as well. So myths, legends, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be amazing, because this whole thing about, you know, clairvoyance and stuff, sages, people who have that, you know, this gift that even in today's society, even the police in America use sometimes clairvoyance to help find, you know, people who have, you know, murder victims, things like that. So, you know, it is becoming a little bit more accepted now, psychic and ability and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to be bringing a lot of that into this as well, you know, for that kind of society too. People who have got the gift and, you know, the sixth sense, I guess. People who are very empathic. The difference between, you know, rules-oriented people and people that like to live life in their own way and their own life path, and they want to be free. And it's like, you know, it's such a strong movie. It's going to be so great, and it's going to be challenging, because both aren't going to be perfect. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to be doing things that regular people do. You know, we have such a big, you know, emphasis on other people that we have to be perfect, you know, and it's so important that we always do everything completely right. And in this movie, you know, it's going to be real people doing real things wrong, you know, and how it really is. I mean, this may be a fantasy film, but it will be touching on real life issues, you know, and it's so important to capture that in the movie. You know, so when we're writing now for the new album, I'm always thinking about the scenes that are going to be, you know, put in place, the storyline of the film, and you know, we have some great content for the new album at the moment that I'm currently writing. Jimmy's written some music as well, and now we have Michael Cook on board, who will be writing some stuff for the new album also. It's all very, very exciting.
darkness closes in, I am feeling lost again. I ran through the forest, feeling nature once again. Ooh, the patterns of my mind. Ooh, when I was left behind. Ooh, the patterns of my mind. Ooh, it's always wisdom that I find. Ooh. The water's coming in, feeling the lake is healing me. I thank the universe, my dreams become reality. Ooh, the patterns of my mind. Ooh, when I was left behind. Ooh, the patterns of my mind. Ooh, it's always wisdom that I find. Ooh, 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 ooh.
So that is a song by Lake of Dreams, and this is going to be the new single coming out in 2022. That's called Lake of Dreams, Lake of Dreams. Now, it wasn't on the first EP, but I'm going to be releasing it as a single. It will be on the album when we release it later on. So we're going to be writing a lot over the next few weeks, and so just to try and get some of the melodic stuff down, we are looking at the different scenes and seeing how we can fit in the songs there. We have a great track by Jimmy called When Angels Call, and it truly is a beautiful track, and it's going to be a part of the movie where all the spirits come down in a reading that is taking place between Sage and Kyra, who is basically the main character of the film. And it's about you're going to have a lot of things like this in there, very mystical stuff, very spiritual stuff. But don't forget, with Lake of Dreams, Mind Lapse will be in the movie as well, but it will be when she enters hell, so that'll be really interesting. It's going to be a very, very cool film. We are so excited about it, and every time we come up with new ideas, it's just so incredible. And we've got all that musical content as well to add to the soundtrack to the film, so we are very excited about this. So it's something a little bit different, it's something very fantasy based, and if you're a fantasy fan like myself, I think it's something that you'd clearly like. You're going to find a lot of what we do in Lake of Dreams is going to be kind of similar to what Merkur does as well. People like that, or also the Isolation, Anathema. It's going to have a lot of different influences, Wardruna, Fawn, Moon in the Night Forest. You're going to find some neoclassical, in there as well. So, it's going to be a great ambient album. And for those who like to chill as well as like their metal, I've got Lake of Dreams and Mind Lapse. So Lake of Dreams is my chill because I listen to a lot of chill music. But I also adore my metal and my heavy, really brutal death metal as well. So, and melodic death metal. So you're going to find that with Mind Lapse. So best of both worlds, yin and yang, completely who I am. So I'm going to introduce you to the next song now, which is called Patterns of Non-Existence. Hope you enjoy.
So hopeless, we don't dream anymore. So hopeless, where will we go? Reach out for validation by hurting others, just in case they hurt us. The patterns of non-existence, the patterns of what is real. So hopeless, we don't scream anymore. So hopeless, where did we go? Reach out for validation by hurting others, just in case they hurt us. The patterns of non-existence, the patterns of what is real.
So I got a lot of feedback with this particular song, and a lot of people love this track. Patterns of Non-Existence is a very dark song. it's about having that, that such raw emotion when you love someone so much, and it's up and down, and it's real. It's really hard because obviously it's about when you decide to leave each other, and how hard that is. So and it's really, I mean, and then when you have trust issues because of it as well. So I think a lot of people can relate to it, and we've recently done a video as well, regarding patterns of non-existence. So if you want to go to Ragebreed TV, you'll see it uploaded. So go ahead and have a look at the video. If you like it, drop it a like. I really enjoyed writing this. I wrote this in Bristol, and it's such a simple track, but it's got so much emotion in it, and I really loved to write this, and something very different, very serene, so yeah, great track. Hope you enjoyed it. So the next one is going to be a track called Memories Fading. I'd written it a while back, but I started to jam on it when I used to live above the flat on the subway, and I used to jam with it in mind laps actually, but I really loved it, and so yeah, I started to sing that, and but then obviously at the time mind laps kind of went, we decided to end mind laps at that point, or put it in hiatus, and I started to continue writing. So as a musician, I think I'll always be someone that writes music, because it's just part of who I am. I'm a very creative person. I see things very differently from people. I'm very outside the box. I do have logic with me, but I also think outside the box as well. So, and I think you have to have that creative mind in order to write music, create art, write poetry. Definitely more of a creative person. I mean, I can still do logic, but I would say I'm quite balanced in that sense. But this part of me, and with the creative side of everything, is such a beautiful release for different kinds of emotions, imagination, creativity. It's absolutely wonderful. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed Memories Fading. That's coming on next.
dream is my love, always connecting me to what I nearly had, so close to me. I'm waiting to fly away from this place. The years pass me by, memories fading, memories fading, memories fading, memories fading.
Absolutely great track. And you know, I remember a few people were saying to me, you know, I love it when you do the dual vocals on it. So you will have a lot of that in the new album as well. So the next track is going to be called The Day After. Now, this is one of the singles that we brought out in 2020. This was liked quite a lot by a few of you. You know, it's about the feeling of when you're with somebody and then they leave and you feel sort of like quite helpless. You don't feel that it was real, even though you gave it your all and stuff, and how you feel inside, you know, that feeling of loss. But you just want to be with that person so much. And that was very, you know, interesting, because in this film, you know, Kira and, you know, this guy who she falls for, he has so many commitments in a logical sense. You know, he has to, it's just wrong on every count of the world in his eyes, because, you know, he wants to progress in his career with the king, you know, and the king wants him to marry his daughter, and there's, you know, Kira, who he can't get out of his head, and it's like, you know, how do I do this? How do I make this happen when, like, everyone around me is against what we would be, and yet when they're together it feels so right, but then when it comes down to it, you know, he keeps leaving her and she's always heartbroken. So, you know, this is a really important part of how she feels, you know. So it's that contrast between obligation and heart, head and heart. It's the conflict. So enjoy. This is called The Day After.
The day after I am lost, searching for the dignity that I forgot. Walk with me, for this was never real to you. To you. cannot feel this way. Is it me, or am I lost again? 'Cause I'm lost without you. When you hold me closer and breathe, when the shadows have no place to sleep, and the moonlight seeks dreamers to yield, lost in midnight when the rush of you feels. Looking back, I am nothing but helpless, when reality has no meaning, and you walk right out the door, and I'm lost without you. When you hold me closer and breathe, when the shadows have no place to sleep, and the moonlight seeks dreamers to yield, lost in midnight when the rush of you feels.
So, beautiful track. I really enjoyed writing that track. Very progressive. So the next one is very progressive. Now, this was initially a Mind Lapse track, and we actually have a death metal version of this, but it was kind of like inspired by Opeth, how they use the beauty and the darkness. But in the end, I used the wake more of something for Lake of Dreams, because I felt like it had this really beautiful ambient side to it, and the wake is basically about like how she identifies with pain in others. She's an empathic person, Kira is. She can, and she wants to heal. That's her purpose. Her purpose is to heal, and she hasn't seen much of the world, and she's not seen. She's a very protected woman. Although she's gone through, a little bit, she's never really had experience with relationships, and she's been quite sheltered a lot of the time. So she's beautiful. She's, she wants to be with him, but the circumstances, the logic shows that that she can't. So she goes to the sage, and the sage gives her a reading and consults all the spirits, and she has a choice, and one of the choices is if she decides to move on. And this track is about that, like where the spirit says, you will live again, you will heal your heart once more, and just look after yourself and heal. And that was one of the cards. So that would be if she decided to do that. So you've got one where she would, well, there's three options, but you'll see more in the movie, because I don't want to go too much into depth of what's going on, because it'll ruin, the surprises and stuff. But basically, this is where, the spirit comes down and says, you'll heal and heal your heart once more. And it's such a beautiful contrast, of, whereas before she was like, I can't leave him, I still love him, and this is about true love and the aches and pains of how society can drive you apart, and it's almost like showing how vulnerable love truly is. It really is, because when you go through something like this, where, say, you're someone who has loved someone unconditionally no matter what, you forget yourself and you lose yourself in the process. So, it's like you've got to think about what's right for you as well. So it's a battle all the time between heart and head, and your heart will always soar for that person. But if he's not there and meeting your needs, then as a woman, or anyone actually, you've got to think about, well, if we're not in a relationship, where do we go from here? And and she doesn't want to leave him. She wants to be with him, and she knows that. She's very concrete with that. But then, because he's not there, she's wasting her life away. And this sage is saying, you have options. These are your options, and this is what you need to do. But she hasn't grown as a woman yet. She still is in that point of where she hasn't experienced much of the world, and so it's a really beautiful story, because you're going to see so much what she has to go through, and what challenges she has to face, and what she decides to do, and that there are going to be different parts to this. So it's going to be an incredible movie. So this track's called The Wake, and I hope you do enjoy.
being me.
Absolutely incredible. I just love that tune so much. And the thing is, every single tune that I wrote, it has such a massive relevance to, a few personal experiences in my life as well. So it's, Lake of Dreams is a really beautiful love story. It really is. And, and the thing is, I wanted to bring romance into a story, but I also wanted to bring in a lot of, real life issues in there. So, you will have a lot of that in there, but then there is going to be a lot of fantasy. So, but Em's going to tell you a little bit more about that. I think we should, I really want his input on it. So you will be hearing a little bit from him next because he is writing the film. Obviously, we decided to go from series to film. He's going to be talking a little bit about the updates on there. So that's kind of cool. Just so you know, also, Michael and Michael Cook from My Naps has joined Lake of Dreams as well. I've said it before, but he'll be doing some melodic stuff, and so is Jimmy. Jimmy's wrote some really lovely stuff as well. So you will be hearing some more about Lake of Dreams from them in later shows. We are going to be doing a meet and greets with Jimmy and Mike once we have a little bit more material together, and we will be going on Ragebreed TV. So I will speak to you guys soon, and I hope you've enjoyed Gravity Chamber. Obviously, next will be an update from M. Fuller. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm Em, and I'm the lead writer on Lake of Dreams.
Hi, Em. Hope you're good. So how have you found Lake of Dreams writing the script?
Lake of Dreams is the most ambitious project I've ever worked on. Its scope, scale is something at first I wasn't prepared for. It started out as a tiny idea and has turned into its own world and universe. It's absolutely massive, and the journey that this has taken has just gone from tiny little spark, and now it's coming up to the point where it's really starting to roar as a fire.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's absolutely amazing when you think about it. I just think that this story has, such an incredible and important message as well, all the way through it. So in a nutshell, how would you describe what Lake of Dreams is?
Lake of Dreams is a fantasy story of two people who are in love, but they can't be together. There's always something stopping them. And in this case, our two main characters have to fight on their own separate journeys through the realm of Octavia to make sure one prophecy comes to fruition, and to stop a much, much, much deadlier prophecy that has world-ending consequences. I mean, we're talking horrific world-ending consequences.
I mean, it truly is an ambitious project, and yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people are going to like the whole prophetic aspect of this as well. Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about Kira then, the main one of the main characters.
Kira, she is our main the main protagonist. Sorry, Kira is quite innocent in the world, but she's very curious. She also has a very, very short temper and is quite rebellious. She struggles with authority, and she's also struggling with her place in the world. She hasn't quite found out where she wants to be in the world. And her journey is very much about self-discovery, self-growth, and how she becomes more wise to the world around her and finds her place as well as her destiny.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of her journey in this movie is really about her connection to how she deals with who she is as well, with having, these kind of abilities and stuff. But also, I feel vulnerable and quite, I suppose, she's been a little bit sheltered, I would say. She has gone through stuff, but not obviously at the capacity of Ricard, because obviously he's gone through, wars, he's gone through, hunting witches, he's seen death basically. He has built walls and he's quite happy being the single guy, and obviously until he meets Kira. So let's talk about the Ricard a little bit now. So tell me a little bit more about Ricard.
Ricard, he's our main protagonist, male character. He's a bit of a ladies' man. He's a little bit arrogant. He's definitely an alpha male, and he's brilliant at fighting. He loves what he does, and he's seen as a hero to his people because he's always managed to, save the day, be the hero that the people want him to be. But he is also a guy who's quite flawed. He is someone who wants to see single, who has always liked single life. He's always been, on his own sort of thing, doing his own thing, wooing the women, drinking heavily, that sort of thing. But because he always managed to find witches, as he is, also a witch hunter like his father was, he was always brought up to be suspicious of witchcraft. He was always told that witchcraft and witches and warlocks were evil, always evil. But his entire world just gets turned upside down. Everything he believes gets turned upside down, and when he falls in love with Kira, and he starts to question absolutely everything.
And it's interesting because it's kind of like, this guy is so sort of like, he's got everything in the palm of his hands. He's got this job where he's killing witches, and he's going to war, a hero of the people, and his he's possibly going to be marrying the king's daughter, so he has potential wealth. But he falls in love, and oh my god, it questions everything because he sees someone who is part of the witchcraft, all those kind of, druidesses, sorcerers. And all she's ever done with him is be loving. And, it's so intense that he feels for her and her for him, and how it feels when he's with her just outweighs everything. But then he stands to lose everything he has if anyone finds out. So it's almost like he has this battle going on when he goes back to the kingdom and he's having to go out and hunt her people. What does he do? Everything that he's been told about her people is completely wrong. And she tries to say to him, there's good and bad people, who are non-magical, and and he's beginning to realize her perspective. And it's almost like in Equilibrium, you know, when the guy falls in love with that woman, and he starts to question the authority and stuff. So it's sort of a similar thing where he's finally waking up that actually maybe what the king is saying is wrong, you know, but then how can he be with her, because he would stand to get executed. You know, you've got all this going on. So, you know, it's a really interesting journey, because on her hand she could lose everything, because she's trusting someone who hunts witches for a living. And so they keep going back and forth. She's arguing with him, she's angry with him because he has this line of work and she didn't know that before. And you know, it's like it's all hell breaks loose, you know. And but they love each other so passionately and intensely. And if only the world wasn't so judgmental, you know, that they would be able to be.
Octavia is a massive realm of 8 kingdoms. It's so varied in its geography, biomes, and people that it's inspired by many other fantasy realms. I mean, I've got little bits of Middle Earth, Narnia, the world of Game of Thrones. I've even taken inspiration from Warhammer Fantasy in the old world, as well as the Final Fantasy video games, just to create a very, very varied world. You know, you've not just got like animals, you've got so many different people, you've got so many different beliefs, you've got so many different like regions and things that could happen in these regions. It's a living, breathing thing. And as much as Octavia is a beautiful world and it's very varied, it's also an incredibly, incredibly dangerous place to live. And it's certainly not a place you really should go out about on your own.
Absolutely. And I think this is where Kira is unaware of how dangerous things really are. But she's in her own world almost. You know, she's living life the way she wants to live it. You know, she's going to the Lake of Dreams. She's going to the waterfall with that beautiful lake where she bathes, and you know, she takes risks and things like that. But you know, we get to see a little bit more about Kira during the film. But let's talk about the transition period between obviously going from a series to a film.
We originally decided Lake of Dreams was going to be a series, but we now came up collectively with the idea that it may actually be better off as a feature-length film. So that's the decision we've made. Lake of Dreams is no longer going to be a series. We are going to go full-on feature-length film. It's definitely... I find television to be very difficult to write for, because it's a much more drawn out process. You have to go into a lot more detail with television because you've got more hours to fill. With film, it's a little, it's obviously a lot more condensed, and there's, you can probably get away with, you'd like to think that we could probably get away with lack of detail that goes into it, but you've just got to be much more concise with what you do with the time of the film. So we've started the script already. I'm very, very happy with how that's coming along. There's so much to go into the story and characters, and even the land that it's set in. And it's a constantly growing, living thing. This entire project is like a breathing, living thing where, we're putting the fuel into creating this thing, with our time. And then, we're adding things in, like the characters, the different lands, the story, and the prophecies and how that actually comes across. And there's not a day where we don't change a part of a character or a piece of the kingdom, or add a character in or take one away because we don't like them, or we move character names around, things like even though it's quite a daunting thing to do, it's a very easy and organic process where we can just go into it. There isn't a day where we were talking between myself and the rest of the team where we have these ideas, and it certainly helps with the music that's there to set the tone, to set the timing as well. It's very simple to actually come across with the ideas that Karina has had, and then we can put it on to paper, and then from paper, it's going to go on to film, and then it'll become a much more visual piece.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And I like that we can, make these changes and add characters, take some things about them away or add it in because it might end up with a better story or a stronger story. It's really cool, I'm very, very proud of you, Em. You've done really well. I think we've let quite a lot out of the bag at the moment, haven't we?
So that's all the secrets I'm going to tell you and let out the bag right now. There's loads more I could tell you. We've got creatures that are going to absolutely amaze you. We've got evil things running around that will scare the pants off of you. And, there's so much more that I could dig out and tell you, but I'm sorry, it's going to have to wait for another time. It's going to have to be another time when we're ready to show you the rest of it, and we can then welcome you to a world of dreams.
Spot on, Em, spot on. The World of Lake of Dreams, the new film and the new musical project. That's going to be released on Ragebreed Records. Myself, Em is doing the script writing, and then obviously we've got Jimmy and Michael that are also on board with the songwriting aspect as well. So you're going to be hearing the Lake of Dreams musical soundtrack in the film among other pieces of music. So it's going to be a really great film, and I'm so looking forward to it. We've got so many great ideas, and you guys are just going to love it. I mean, any fantasy lover, if you're into your fantasy films, this is something that you need to see when it's out. We're going to be taking you through the journey throughout the year, so you'll get like sort of updates from myself and Em, and updates from the rest of the band as well musically. So we're going to bring you together with our journey on this. But I hope you've enjoyed today's special of Gravity Chamber, which is the Lake of Dreams special, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Take care. Keep it Ragebreed.